Activision Blizzard, at this rate, you're going to lose all of your best talent. It's bad enough that we had to deal with the whole situation regarding the toxic workplace of harassment, abuse, misconduct, and discrimination. And recently, I talked about a situation involving the World of Warcraft Classic lead developer who was fired for refusing to betray employees by going along with this mandate where he had to evaluate employees as having lower work performance, even though they performed adequately because of this thing called the stack ranking system, among other things. And now we're looking at a situation where developers and employees across the board are infuriated within Blizzard because of this mandate to end the remote workplace environment that has allowed developers to have a better standard of living while also being able to do better work, being able to do their best work. And so right here we have an article that Video Games Chronicle published about this titled, Activision Blizzard Employees Are Being Forced to Return to the Office Soon, it's claimed. This article was published on February 14th, 2023, and it reads right here that two separate social media users who say that they're Activision Blizzard employees say the company informed staff on Monday of a return to office plan. And this was later confirmed by Activision Blizzard itself via a spokesperson who told Video Games Chronicle the following: Activision Blizzard has been returning teams to the office over the past year, and on February 13th, we updated our future of work plans. In close partnership with each leadership team, we customize a plan based on what's best for our business and our teams. We look forward to the increased real-time, in-person collaboration and opportunities this change will foster, trying to paint a positive picture to all of this. But the reality is, as described by Twitter user Least My Hair Is Okay, as well as Reddit user Dr. Hilarious PhD, that a return to office mandate would be highly inconvenient for employees, would make them less productive, and would offer a number of drawbacks that just do not outweigh the potential benefits of people going into the office. If there's one good thing that came out of COVID, it's the acceleration of remote work and the realization that it's entirely possible to have a remote work environment and for companies to thrive. In fact, many people just are better convenienced by remote work and are able to do better, more productive work while having a better work-life balance for it. But Activision, being the evil pieces of shits that they are trying to dissolve all that. So right here we have the Reddit user that Video Games Chronicle is referring to, who posted this 5 days ago on February 13th, 2023. Activision just announced removal of work from home options and is denying applications for working from home permanently to people with disabilities. Mass walkouts ensued. And then here we have a series of tweets by Least My Hair Is Okay, who kind of described why this is such a bad move, this push for people returning to the office and the benefits that were afforded by remote work. I've bullet pointed those in my notes here. The points that were made by this Twitter thread include how there are more drawbacks than benefits to returning to office, how COVID is still a threat, and how remote work means that employees are able to spend more time working because less time has to be spent commuting. There's lower costs for gas and insurance because they don't have to deal with transportation. They can live in less expensive cities because they don't have to be near work and can work good distance away from HQ. They can also work through their disabilities by the convenience of remote work, which allows them to be in an environment where their disabilities are able to be convenienced, and it just makes it easier for workers to both be able to work while taking care of their families. All of that is compromised by this mandate to return to the office. And it doesn't help that Activision Blizzard has not been aiding employees with inflation crisis. No cost of living adjustments have been made to make up for that inflation, and many have moved away because of remote work, and suddenly they'll have to uproot themselves and return closer to HQ, and will have to make a bunch of adjustments in a short period of time because they thought remote work would just be standard. There are just more drawbacks to return to office, like lower morale. It just makes it harder for people to work. It's going to lead to departures. Employees are going to want to work for companies that are standardizing remote work, and that's going to force Activision Blizzard to rely more on outsourcing. And all of this is going to lead to product delays as well as less polished products. Customers will be impacted by this as well. The quality of the products that they buy will be diminished. And in turn, because those products are going to be received more poorly and possibly sell less, employees are going to receive less pay and less bonuses. It's this vicious cycle that Activision Blizzard is being incredibly short-sighted on. And something else that At Least My Hair Is Okay highlights is that studies have shown that remote work does not have a negative impact on employees' productivity, and if anything, it makes them more productive and it makes them happier, and it just provides a better work environment. So all of this is just really bad news for Activision Blizzard, a company that is already embroiled in controversies involving employees and their dissatisfactions for how this company is run. Word about the situation has been spreading far and wide. A number of news outlets like Dexerto here publish articles titled Activision Blizzard staff feeling unvalued as company plans to scrap remote work. Beyond that, recently, Blizzard president Mike Ybarra hosted a Q&A to try to answer employees' questions and try to address their concerns, but that had more of a negative impact than anything else, as reported by Game Developer here. Q&A with Blizzard leadership on return to office, bonuses, leaves devs fuming. Comments by Blizzard Entertainment President Mike Ybarra were met very poorly during that Q&A session. Topics they addressed included use of stack ranking, which is that system I was talking about where employees are ranked against each other and managers are forced to evaluate certain employees at a lower performance, even if everyone performed at the same level. Another way to put it would be even if all students are getting A's, some of them are being forced to be given C's just because of bullshit corporate mandates. Other topics included news that all Blizzard employees would receive a lower percentage of profit share bonuses, despite the fact that Activision Blizzard has been performing really well financially lately because of the work that employees put in through remote work. And another topic that was addressed was employees being required to at least partially return to on-site offices in the coming months, ending the standardization of remote work and forcing people to go back into the office, which diminishes the talent pool that companies have access to and makes employees' lives harder for those who do prefer remote work and have found success in that format. This Game Developer article highlights how employees were surprised that they'd only be receiving 58% of their profit-sharing bonuses, given that Activision Blizzard had an especially strong fourth quarter and following a year where the company managed to ship a wide array of successful games and expansions because of Blizzard developers who were able to do good work, especially because of the remote work environment that just made everything more convenient for them. Beyond that, it's highlighted here that Ybarra's reported responses to employee questions included comments so outrageous that around 12 p.m. Pacific, Blizzard employees and their friends/family took to Twitter to lambast company leadership. I'm going to get to that in a bit. I'm going to read a bunch of comments that Blizzard employees made publicly on Twitter, just highlighting how much they're fuming at this. And then finally, it's highlighted here that during the Q&A, Ybarra allegedly made bizarre comparisons to his and other executives' pay packages to those of rank-and-file employees, saying down here that if you think that executives are making a lot of money and you aren't, you're living in a myth. He was trying to make the point that the only 58% profit bonus would be applied not just to ground floor employees, but also to executives. But executives are still making a bunch of money. They're making millions, while many ground floor employees still struggle to get by because they're not being paid enough, because Activision Blizzard isn't raising their salaries to match inflation, so on and so forth. Ground floor employees suffer more from a lowered profit bonus than executives do because executives are already making a lot of money. The fact that Mike Ybarra just had the audacity to say that goes to show how much his position of power and all the money he makes now has gone to his head. Or he might just have Bobby Kotick's hand shoved up his ass and being used as a puppet and a mouthpiece for the CEO of Activision Blizzard. Either way, this is just an awful statement to make. Beyond that, Mike Ybarra appeared to downplay the value of QA and customer service roles at the studio and defended the company's decision to slash annual profit-sharing bonuses. And then when it comes to the mandate to return to office, he basically said, at the end of the day, we want people to be happy, and if decisions about being happy don't align with where we're going and you won't be happy, then you'll have to do what will make you happy, which is a low-key way of saying, if you don't like our way, take the highway. Get out. Leave if you don't like how we do things. If you want further details, I'd recommend you read the rest of the article, but this headline by Polygon summarizes things pretty aptly. Blizzard workers are furious after demoralizing Q&A meeting. Blizzard president Mike Ybarra addressed employee satisfaction, but made a lot of workers more angry. GameSpot covered this as well. Blizzard company-wide meeting reportedly made employees feel extremely unimportant and unsupported. A virtual Q&A session led by Blizzard president Mike Ybarra has not gone over well with Blizzard employees. employees, so on and so forth. And now let's go through Twitter posts by employees and organizations who have reprimanded Activision Blizzard for this Q&A and just for the general decision to end remote work. So a better ABQ, a better Activision Blizzard, an alliance that was started after reports of the workplace of abuse, misconduct, harassment, discrimination, and toxicity. They have been regurgitating all of the different articles that have been covering this topic. And then beyond that, you've got employees like Twitter user Zhang Joshi here, who said, I don't talk much about developer stuff on this account anymore, but I would like to openly voice my dissatisfaction with the return to office policies proposed. We shipped Overwatch 2 during the work from home model. We continue to put out quality content because we love this game as much as the community does. I've been work from home since I joined Team 4, October 4th, 2021. I contributed to the 25,000 plus voice lines we wrote for Overwatch 2, as well as so many really exciting things happening behind the scenes that I can't talk about. Basically saying I've been incredibly productive through this remote work environment. Aside from my launch visit to campus, I haven't worked a day on site. I love Overwatch, but I will not uproot my life simply because the company is summoning everyone to a singular geographic location. I have too much to lose by moving between my progress towards a healthy, balanced life and my love for my job. I choose my life 100% of the time. Well said. For me, potentially having to voluntarily resign if I choose not to return to office makes me feel unvalued despite the love and hard work I've put in. I strongly urge leadership to reconsider the decision. Blizzard has more than demonstrated what we're capable of in the current model of remote work. This is what I mean by Blizzard will lose talent. You've got employees doing their jobs, doing it on time, and going above and beyond, and doing just genuinely good work in a remote work environment, and it's just not convenient for them to uproot their lives and move closer to Blizzard HQ. And you're going to lose those talent, people who have been doing good work, whose work is the reason why Activision Blizzard had a great quarter recently. Here we have another Blizzard employee speaking out. Dylan Snyder, senior game designer on Overwatch 2, said, I believe Blizzard and specifically Activision leadership are making a huge mistake with their recent return to office policy, to then follow that up by shorting people in regard to their compensation, referring to the lessened profit sharing despite, again, Activision Blizzard having performed well financially recently. Following the most lucrative quarter in the company's history, as he put it, is unacceptable. The studio has made and released some of its strongest work while remote because of developers and employees who were able to work from home. It also allowed the room for people to start fighting for the culture of this place to change for the better. There is zero justifiable reason not to continue allowing that flexibility. You've also got developers outside of Activision Blizzard speaking out, like this Bungie developer who tweeted unnecessary in regards to the return to office mandate. At Bungie, we're about to release our second expansion while working from home. Witch Queen was praised as one of the best campaigns we've released. Blizzard has released several patches, Overwatch 2, Dragonflight, and soon to be Diablo 4 while working from home. It's not needed. The same amount of work, if not more work, in a better work environment can be achieved with a work from home environment. You're not losing anything by allowing people to work from home. Something that we can do now in this day and age because technology has evolved enough that we can work from home efficiently and still communicate efficiently and still get work done efficiently. We're at that point now, and COVID forcing, but for some dumb reason, companies and corporations want to go back on that front, even though that's just a step back when it comes to just a generally better, more productive work environment for developers, workers, employees. Like, work from home is beneficial to you, Activision Blizzard, and somehow you're deciding to undo that. Just typical corporate short-sightedness. I just don't understand the logic behind this one. Dylan Snyder then came back with another series of tweets after that Mike Ybarra Q&A saying that I've been in this industry for nearly 10 years and have never ever been as embarrassed by leadership figures as I am at this moment. Since this caused confusion, this tweet was only in regard to leadership I have been employed under. I was not at the studio during the lawsuits or behavior that led to them. I apologize if my wording was misleading. Other Blizzard employees responded with agreement. Here's So Schwind, who responded with 16 years here and big same. Here's another developer who spoke out. Devon tweeted, Blizzard, frickin' listen to your employees' challenge. Everyone I know there loves their jobs, their teams, but gets repeatedly and shamelessly shit on by executives and completely out of touch upper management. Frickin' stop. Your teams do good work. Stop sabotaging them. Rich people have incurable bad syndrome and need to be stopped forever. The World of Warcraft team just released a beautiful, successful, and celebrated expansion made through remote work, and you want to be like, actually come back to the office right now and let's just destroy a healthier work environment. Have some freaking respect for the people who actually make the things that print money. Well, that's just the issue, isn't it? Executives don't view human beings who make them the money through the hard work that they do with the great talent that they have as human beings to be respected. They're viewed as tools to be disposed of. They're viewed as a means to an end. That's it. Here's another Blizzard developer, Brian Bedford, who is the senior character artist on Overwatch. He tweeted, "After today, my confidence in leadership now only extends to Team 4 and no further. What an absolute mess of a week. We just want to make cool games, man. Why does it matter where we do it from? If at worst it doesn't make a difference, and at best it makes it better for us and gives us a better work environment to do better work. The Wizards on Warcraft shipped a whole game working from home. Our Overwatch team shipped while working from home. The Diablo crew is about to do the same. Does it really matter where our collective butts are physically located in time and space if we're able to do all that and have a more convenient work-life balance, which just increases morale and yields better work and in turn better products?" Here's another Overwatch developer who aptly described the vicious cycle of this whole corporate structure. Leadership does bad stuff, then lots of workers quit, then productivity suffers, then leadership blames remaining workers for a drop in productivity when it was leadership who drove those talented workers away. Leadership then implements widely unpopular return to office policy, tells workers if they don't like it, they can quit, so lots of more workers quit, and then rinse and repeat. Yeah, I mean, that's really the best way to describe this. This is just Activision Blizzard shooting itself in the foot. If the executives love money so much, then allow the developers to do their best work. And you do that by giving them work condition options instead of going back to this antiquated model of having to come to the office to work, which we know for a fact now doesn't necessarily make for a more productive work environment. Here's a former developer, Zoid Kirsch, who spoke out by saying Blizzard recently did an internal company Q&A about its new work policies such as return to office. During the discussion, Blizzard president Mike Ybarra referred to Q&A and customer service workers as not long-term disciplines, just completely devaluing what is a very important aspect of game development. Zoid continued, "This is such an incredibly naive and short-sighted way to view workers. When I was working with Nintendo of America's QA team, I worked with some of the best testers ever. Nintendo at the time treated its QA team as a full career path with outstanding skill and professionalism. Q&A and customer service workers should be viewed as a valid career path. It's not just the development fields like design, programming, audio, and art that matter. All of it matters, and all roles are important and should have career growth. These are all important cogs in a giant, complicated machine." Here's an actual Activision QA, Kate Anderson, speaking out and protesting by tweeting, "QA is a valid career path and should be treated like such. We are developers. We are the support class for game development." That's a great way to put it. Blizzard leadership alluding to some roles only being stepping stones is such an incredibly insulting thing to say to workers. Here's former Blizzard employee Jessica Gonzalez, and a big part of the A Better ABK movement, who tweeted, "Mike Ybarra after delivering the most tone-deaf Q&A session Blizzard has ever seen." And here is that scene from the Joker where he's telling jokes and nobody laughs. And then apparently there was a moment in the Q&A where Jessica Gonzalez described as Activision Blizzard executives basically saying, "You're not allowed to talk about how badly we treat you because it hurts executives' feelings." The last tweet I want to highlight before closing things off is one from none other than Mike Ybarra, who amidst this whole situation isn't really addressing this stuff to the public, instead is like teasing this little thing here. But below, if you look at the comment section, you'll find tons of Blizzard employees or just people in the games industry who are fed up with the way Blizzard is treating their employees and the way Activision in general just handles their corporate structure and workplace environment, tweeting things like, "Dare to see the world for what it could be, a place where your employees praise your leadership. This is not the world we live in. You are the only person with the power to create that world. You just have to choose to." Here's somebody else saying, "Listen to your employees." And this just goes on and on. Here's somebody else saying, "I hope the key unlocks a safety deposit box with fair compensation for employees being forced to move to the stupidly expensive California," referring to this key right here. You've got people posting memes about just what a clown Mike Ybarra was in the Q&A session and what a clown just Activision Blizzard leadership is as a whole. Laura here said, just adding to the flood of comments saying, "Listen to your employees," and posting what I assume is meant to be a fun gaming teaser right now is pretty ghoulish, just incredibly tone-deaf, typical executive. Here's somebody who photoshopped Mike Ybarra wearing a clown costume, except he isn't just a clown, he's the whole circus alongside the entire Activision Blizzard leadership. You get it at this point. Scrolling down, pretty much that's all you'll find. This is the level to which backlash and protest has escalated. Just about everyone is in support of Activision Blizzard employees being able to work from home. Everyone is in support of them getting better bonuses. Everyone is in support of corporations treating the human beings who make the products that made them all this money better. And despite that, even after all of the controversies that Activision Blizzard had to deal with, they're still pulling shit like this. Just goes to show that, I don't know, for me, there's just no hope for this corporation unless it gets new leadership. The current state of Activision Blizzard and the morale at this company is bleak. More and more talent is leaving. The quality of Blizzard games just aren't what they used to be, and that's because we're seeing just an exodus of talent who are tired of being treated the way they've been treated, and that's just going to lead to this vicious cycle where talent is going to continue to leave as the quality of products continues to depreciate, and that depreciation is blamed on the employees rather than on leadership decisions that made employees leave, which will result in products further depreciating in quality. It's this vicious cycle towards the bottom of the barrel, and this is all the fault of Activision Blizzard leadership, who keep scapegoating this stuff on employees, which will just keep that vicious cycle going. So yeah, this is kind of the current situation at Activision Blizzard right now. This feels like a rubber band that's about to snap. I don't know how much more of this Activision Blizzard can take. This is not sustainable. This house of cards will eventually crumble at this rate, but I suppose only time will tell how all of this will pan out. I'll keep you guys updated if there are more developments on this, but in the meantime, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the current state of Activision Blizzard and what you think prospects look like for Activision Blizzard amidst what is yet another mass protest from employees, especially in regards to this mandate to return to office and them just getting a significantly lower profit-sharing bonus. And this is among myriad other issues that employees have to contend with. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.